we we've had a couple guys get the flu, so we're gonna two-man this tonight. But we want to give a big shout out to Simple Man's over there at Simple Man's YouTube channel, Brian and Jack. They're doing the Last Call FLC show. Make sure you guys check that out every Friday as well. And also, we want to give a big shout out to comicbookinvest.com. If you guys haven't seen this beautiful woven art #1 homage to the first appearance of Blade, that's what Tomb of Dracula #10.
Yep.
Yep. So beautiful cover here, Tomb of Dracula #10 homage. Go check it out. And for all of you that don't know, this is available in both minimal trade dress, limited to 250 copies, as well as a virgin cover, limited to just 100 copies. And each comic has a hand-numbered CBSI exclusive sticker to seal the comic in its MyLight and halfback. And the best part about it is $2 from each sale on comicbookinvest.com will go to St. Jude's Children's Hospital. So go out there and pay it forward and get yourself a sweet book, and you'll enjoy it. I know you will. Ben, let's get started, man. We got a crazy list this week.
Oh yeah. Thanks for anybody who's joining us on Facebook, YouTube. Check out our channel. Make sure you hit that like and subscribe buttons. Comment down below. That way we can check out your comments. That way we can make sure that we're doing what you guys want for the show and everything like that. But it's a little weird, just me and Brian tonight. But we'll go ahead and jump into the list.
Let's do it.
Yep, and we'll go ahead and start with, as we do every week, start with the honorable mentions. So the first book tonight is going to be Adventures into Darkness #12. This one kind of threw me for a little bit, or like a kind of a loop. And our Golden Age go-to person is the owner, Ben C, and he even commented that this is kind of an obscure book. So I was a little kind of surprised to see what one sold for this week. It's not even the best book in the little series. It goes from like issues like 5 to 14 or something like that. There's not many issues to this, but there was the highest graded copy out there. It's the lone highest graded copy, and that probably had something to do with it. But a CGC 8.5 sold this week for $3,100. Guide value is only probably about $400 on this, so that was about 8 times guide, which is a bit absurd. But the only thing I could really think of is a lot of these covers that have like devils, and it's kind of its own genre, kind of like the skulls and bondage and stuff like that. So that's kind of the only thing I could figure out on this one.
Just got to be rarity, right? There's just probably not that very many out there in high grade like that.
There's not. I think I checked the census. I think there's only 9, even on the census at all. So this one hadn't sold. This one hadn't even sold in like, I think there was a low grade copy that sold last year, and nothing for many years prior to that. So.
Man, these Golden Age books, they just keep on selling for more and more. So don't pass these up if you find them in the flea market.
Yeah, true rarity. I mean, if it's a horror, it's got some kind of horror cover to it. If you can find it for cheap, I would go ahead and buy it, grade it, see what you can get for it, because it's kind of all over the place. But
yeah.
All
right.
Yes. Yep. So our next honorable mention this week is kind of a repeat offender. It made the Hot 10 quite a while ago. My guess is probably a year ago. I didn't go back and look, but it's been a while. But it's Showcase 96 #3. This is the kind of pseudo first appearance of Birds of Prey. So it's not labeled that on CGC cases. I'm not even sure if they list the Birds of Prey Oracle, if they list that as a first appearance, but this one predated that issue. This week, copies were jumping up again, back up to over $30. A couple weeks ago they were less than $10. I think it has to probably do with the Birds of Prey trailer that came out.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
What did you think about that, Brian? Because I'll be honest, I kind of I felt like I was maybe on like a slight acid trip or something when I saw it.
I loved it for that reason, man. I thought it was just really beautiful colors. I love movies like that showcase colors like that. And there was a couple things that when I first saw the teaser trailer a couple months back that kind of weirded me out about it. But after the new trailer that came, that was the longer one, I'm actually kind of looking forward to this. You can kind of see they're really wanting to showcase some of these female characters, and I'm all for it. I'm a fan of Harley Quinn, and I think that Margot Robbie is just perfect casting for that. So
yeah, no, I agree. It was just it just trippy.
Man.
There's just some trippy things going on that trailer. So we'll see how it goes, but there does appear to be some renewed interest in that. So I have found this book. I found this book probably about 3 years ago in a dollar bin. I've yet to find it since, so it's not that common.
Yeah, I've never seen one once in the wild. And
yeah.
Another thing that real quick about the movie that I'm kind of looking forward to is to see how the whole Black Mask thing plays out, because I think a lot of people have been wanting that character to blow up for a while, and hopefully if DC's got something planned for him, it's such a good character. I just don't know if they're going to change it up too much, to ruin it or to make it better, or who knows. So
right,
it'll be interesting to see how that works out.
Right.
All right, on to the next one.
All right, so now we're going to jump into the list, and this week coming in at number 10. And okay, so I'm just going to go ahead and throw this out before we even get started on the list. So looking at some of the comments on the website on comicbookinvest.com, there's several people that are complaining that there are too many variants this week, and there are. This week is variant heavy. It's kind of the same thing that happens the week of San Diego Comic-Con. But when it is New York Comic-Con, San Diego Comic-Con, there are a slew of, exclusive variants that are out, and they are driving sales these 2 weeks of the year. And unfortunately, that's if you're not a variant fan, it's just one of those weeks that you're gonna be kind of swallowed up. I did look at many other books that were out there this week, and things that you might think were technically hot probably were not really increasing much in value. I think people are spending their money on these New York Comic-Con variants this week, and that's just where the money was flowing. So if you don't like it, I'm sorry. There's not going to be multiple lists. It's 10 books. I'm not expanding to 20. I'm not expanding to 10 for every era. It's just not going to, one, I don't have the time, but two, it waters down what we're trying to do here. We're trying to narrow this thing down to 10. Most lists are 10, and we're not going to have multiple lists. So it's not going to be a variant list. It's not going to be a Bronze Age list. It's not going to be like that. It's going to be a mix. And this week, it just happens to be that's just what it is. But all right, so we're going to jump in the list here, number 10, and it is a New York Comic-Con variant. It is the House of X number 5. It's the J. Scott Campbell. I guess it's a Virgin variant. I'm not at New York Comic-Con, so I didn't get any of these books. So Eric Lister does ask here, what is the print run for the JSC books? It does say on the cover of this book that it is 2,500 for this particular. This one is serial numbered on the book itself. So,
which is very cool that they're doing this, and a lot of the books on the list this week from New York City Comic Con have these numbers listed on the book, or say of the amount of numbers listed.
Right, and we've been talking about this for at least 2 years on our podcast, that we think that that's the way to go, and that these books do need to start being serial numbered. So This one is listed as 25 as out of 2,500, and this one's moving about in that $40 to $50 range, which is pretty common for a Campbell con exclusive variant. The only thing that kind of concerns me, and I mentioned it on the website, is 2,500 is more than what his store exclusive. He's got most of those listed at like 1,250, 1,500. So this is more plentiful than that. Now, granted, I think this is a good Storm cover.
Beautiful.
I think Campbell did a great job on this one, as opposed to sometimes some of his more recent ones have kind of been, a little bit.
It seems like
plain.
The torsos on all his women are starting to kind of get crazy, but this one is really beautiful. The only thing that I'll nitpick it about is the hands. I don't like the hands. I don't know what it is. I just don't like the pointed fingers, I guess. But I think this is one of his best covers. He does Storm very well. Every time he does Storm, he does her pretty good. So.
Yeah, I'll just say that maybe she's got the pointed fingers because if the lightning doesn't kill you, she'll just claw your eyes out. And maybe that's what he's going for. I'm not sure. All right, before we get into number 9 here, I want to give a couple of shout outs. I see Doc Joe. Thanks for joining us. We already mentioned Eric, Comic Man Andy. I appreciate you, brother. We made something happen this week, so I'm glad that worked out well. Christopher, oh gosh,
yeah, that's the magic.
Mazajowski.
Yeah,
that's what I'm going with. But anyways, thanks for joining. I do agree that sales would be better if they started numbering them. Dennis Hayes, what's up, brother? Adam Lebednik. Thanks guys for commenting. Thanks for watching. And we're just going to continue on down the list here. Let's go to number 9. It is another NYCC variant, numbered out of 2,500. And it is Strike Force number 1. This is the John Tyler Christopher variant, the negative variant. He did one very, very similar to this with Rogue out of the San Diego Comic-Con. That one did well as well. That green fluorescent. This one's red. Like it's almost. This one shows it as the picture here shows it as red, but like the pictures that I've seen, it's more like a neon. And I guess that's what's making it fluorescent or whatever. But I haven't seen this book in person, so I can't say how much it pops. But it looks like from the live copies that I've seen, it pops pretty well. But
I really dig his style of covers like this. The book that we're going to give away tonight is kind of has a little bit to do with this, and we'll explain that later. But when he does these covers as a rather than his action figure covers, I really like this style a lot better.
Yeah. So anyways, these are selling in that $50 range as well, kind of like the Campbell variant. I did mention that the Rogue variant was in that same vein back at San Diego Comic-Con. It's dropped a little bit, but it still is selling in that $35 to $40 range. So that's probably where this book is going to end up. But again, we do like to see that it's serial numbered on the book itself.
Yep.
All right, so let's jump down here to number 8, and this is probably no surprise to anyone, and it is Spawn 300, the silver New York Comic-Con variant. And this one is not serial numbered on the book, but it does say right below the 300, it does say there are 1,500 of them. So there are 1,500 copies of this one. They are selling in the about $75. Some of the sales have been higher than 75, but in general, it's kind of in that $75 range.
And just like the other book where you're explaining the color doesn't give it justice in these pictures, the color in these, the way these pop, the silver on these books is absolutely gorgeous in the copies I've seen on the internet.
Yeah. And, we can kind of talk about this kind of in general, but I'm personally amazed at Spawn, the resurgence of Spawn over the past, probably 2 years. probably since issue two. Well, sometime probably after it was after 250.
Yeah, that thank you kind of variant, one per story.
Yeah, yeah. It's amazing to me. It seems like every Spawn book is wanted right now, and it's
Here's
just
a perfect example. Doc
yeah,
and I need it.
yeah. It's just it's incredible. I mean, I was collecting comics when Spawn came out back in '92, and I mean, I remember when Image Books first started, and this was right there at the start, and it was crazy how many. I mean, I don't even remember what they said the print run was on Spawn 1, but it was a lot. It was massive, and they continue to be massive. And then it dwindled and dwindled, and I got out of comics and came back, and and those Spawns, in those 160 to 240 range were just basically non-existent. I mean, the print runs on those were very low, and to see it jump back up now is amazing. I can't think of another comic that has went from such high down to rock bottom and then rebounded so quickly.
I think you kind of hit it on the head also, is that a lot of the people who were collecting the book at the time it came out, I mean, I can think of 5 or 6 of my good friends who really weren't big into comics, but really went heavy on that book and, read every issue every week, and it kind of pulled them in. And those people that did that at that time are really, I think, helping to push this resurgence, with all the history and all that stuff. And, kind of getting and finding those back issues.
Right. So anyway, so that was what came in at number 8 this week, and let's move on to number 7. And number 7 is the new volume of Captain Marvel. We're now on the website just giving year. We're not saying volume number because it changes between websites, so it's easier just to use the year. That was a comment from someone else, but it's the most recent volume for Captain Marvel number 8, and I went with the third print on this one this week, only because a week ago this was cover price, and now it's $15 to $20.
Wow.
So yeah, so that's why I went with this one, and the reason that this one is spiking is because of the announcement that this character Star is getting her own miniseries. And what'd you say it was coming out January?
January of 2020. It's going to be a limited series, and one of the covers on that. I mean, this cover might not be all that great, but the cover for one of the variants that's coming for that series was this book right here, and that's just a beautiful cover. So be on the lookout for that one. See what this character can do, but that's a beautiful. I think that's In Hook Lee, I believe, that did this cover. So be on the lookout for it. Really gorgeous cover, and that comes out in January. So limited series.
Yeah. So like some of these, like James Falconer here is asking how many third printings were printed. That's what I'm trying to look really fast, and I don't know if I can pull it up really quickly.
It'd be interesting to see some of these. Did they not think that character was going to be super big, so they didn't print many, or did they kind of know it was coming?
Yeah, I'm not really. Well, let's see here. See if I can. It would probably be one of the most recent, because this book is pretty new. So
Eric Lister actually kind of comments on that. He said, "Why the third, as it was in stock at cover price or below at midtime as of this morning?" And you kind of touched on that, Ben, when you first brought up the book. What it's selling for, last week, and what it's selling for now.
Yeah, and I'll be honest. I mean, there's several of these books that it's not just even this particular book. There are books out there that pop up in price that are still available either at Diamond or at Midtown, because I mean, Midtown's usually it's just people go there because it's got the biggest but a lot of people, I don't know, for whatever reason, some people just won't order from Midtown. They don't like the way that they ship. They don't like, they feel like they're getting, I don't know, whatever. Most people, like, especially like me, don't have access to anybody that has a Diamond account. So it's not like I can call somebody up. I don't have a relationship with my local comic shop that, where I can call them and be like, hey, I need you to order me 20 copies of this.
Yeah.
So I don't understand. I don't know the reason for why some books pop in price, but honestly, there are books that are out there, especially these newer books, that if you really are in tune with websites that are out there, you can probably find it for cover price, even though it's selling for 4 times that on eBay. You can find it for less on websites. That's just to say that I think a lot of times eBay is just easier for some people, and they may get caught up in it. I know me personally, I don't really buy on eBay, but I will say that there have been times that if I think something's going to be worth something, I may go ahead and buy it right then without looking at other websites, just thinking if I don't buy this now, it's going to be gone, and so I don't really take the extra time to go and search, the 15, 20 online outlets that are available. So yes, there are many times that you can find books that are selling for 5, 6 times cover, and you can find it for cover price online.
Yep. A lot of people do that. A lot of people kind of hide their little honey holes online because we don't have that many honey holes out there in the wild.
Yeah, it's tough, and honestly, the only reason that I picked this over the first print, I looked at the first print and I looked at the first print has a splatter. That's this issue, right? The Amanda Connor cover. It's got like the blood splatter or whatever. I looked at that, and the prices they're around like 20, I think, is what but they were kind of steady. They were pretty much 15 to 20 last week. They didn't really move that much. That's the only reason that I really picked this one, just because I saw a spike in price. But in general, everybody's kind of just going to any of these Captain Marvel 8s just because of this star character.
And she's on the cover too. So
right. So I'm not telling you which one to go buy because I don't have any of them. Like I said, I don't have access to them. I'm not going to get on Midtown and buy them. If they're on a Midtown, then yeah, I probably would I would probably pick up a copy or two if you're already getting an order. That's the other thing is, I mean, sometimes Midtown shipping is so slow that if you're trying to get it to move it, it's never going to get to you in time. They just won't get it to you. So, so I know that is an issue with some people, but yeah. Again, this list is not to tell you to go what to buy. This is just trying to help you understand what's possibly moving and what's
doing.
I don't always have the answers as to why some of these books sell for what they sell for. I have no idea. So I would not buy it, but somebody is. That's basically all I'm saying.
Didn't they? This character is almost kind of like the same character that they did in Dark Avengers with Moonstone, where they kind of had another character acting as as Miss Marvel. And I did a little bit of research on Star, and she seems to be that same type of person. She was kind of created, if I remember correctly, to be a clone or something similar like that to Miss Marvel. So I don't know. I feel like maybe it isn't somebody to put a lot of spec money behind because they've kind of already done this character before in this type of character. So we'll see.
Okay. All right. So let's move on to number 6. And number 6 is it is what it is. It's DMZ number 1. There was news that came out this week of a pilot being ordered for HBO Max, which is their soon-to-be online service. Is that
Yeah.
That's correct?
believe so. Yeah.
Yeah. So this is a book that when I got back into comics back 6-7 years ago, people were still buying it then. But then it kind of just basically fell off into oblivion. And I
That
think
was a
there were,
good book to read.
I never read it, but I remember people talking about it, and maybe that's why this one they just got really excited with this. Like, oh gosh, it's finally got some kind of news to it. Um, you know, so if you have it and can move it, great. It's back up to about $20, so that's probably for those who have held on to it for the number of years that it's been kind of sitting in purgatory. That's probably pretty good. Yeah.
Finally
So
get some news on it. Let's get that one made.
yeah. Okay. All right. So let's go on to number 5 this week, and it is Absolute Carnage, the Immortal Hulk #1. This is the Dale Keown 1 in 25 variant. This was selling pre-sales. This was hot before it came out. It is still hot. It's selling $60 to $70, and it's a pretty good cover. I will say.
Yeah, I really like it. I almost went out and tried to find one of these, but then I just saw the fervor on it, and I figured that I really thought that this one was going to be higher in the list this week, but with all the NYCC news, that definitely isn't happening. But this is a beautiful cover.
Yeah, it really is, and I think that's really what's driving the price on this one. So
yeah.
I do want to answer a couple questions here, just really, really quick, because I don't want to beat a dead horse or anything like that. But there are a couple questions here wondering why that Captain Marvel, based on 1 or 2 sales. Again, I could have easily picked the first print. It's really this particular book. It was really the book itself, not necessarily the first, second, or third print. The third print I put up there specifically for the price jump. That whether it was 1 sale, 10 sales, that's the reason. So no other reason than that.
Isn't it also usually? I'm not saying it with every book, but my question about being the number of copies per the printing. Like a first print will have a ton of copies, and a second, third print it'll just kind of drop down the line. So if a third print has got a different cover, I know that it's basically the same with just color differences, but it's different. It's not exactly the same, and it's got less copies, so it kind of adds to the rarity thing.
Yeah, I mean, hey, it is what it is. I mean, I'm not gonna, like I said, I'm not gonna get too far into the weeds in this. Book, the book itself, the Captain Marvel 8 is what is driving the sales. Whether or not the third print is the best one to buy, I'm not saying that. I'm not implying that. I highlighted it here because I like the red cover of it, and the price jump justified it. Whether it was 1 sale or 20 sales, that's all. That's the only reason.
Yep.
Okay.
All
right. So let's go back into the list here at number 4, and another repeat offender. It is Gideon Falls #1.
This was a big book when this first came out, especially this cover, if I remember correctly.
It was, and there's a version of this, and there's a couple other variants to this. I saw a Comics Pro 9.8 sold for $400 either yesterday or today, or I can't remember exactly, but it was big, it was high, it was very high, and I guess I tried to read it and try to figure out what they were saying exactly. There was an announcement at NYCC about this. They had a panel on it, and they mentioned that James Wan, the movie guy, is attached to this, but they didn't necessarily say that he was directing it. I don't know if it's just that he's producing this or what, but I guess just the fact that his name was attached to it was a pretty big deal. So
Yeah, yeah. If he can be part of putting the team together or writing the script or something.
Yeah.
Help.
So cover A is back to around $20. Again, there's several covers to this, and yeah, it looks like Christopher said he's just producing it. So, but yeah, there's several covers on this. The like I said, the Comics Pro one is really difficult to find and is really expensive right now. So, but apparently this is a really good read, and but
Could turn into something good on the other end then, hopefully.
Yep. We don't know. All right. So let's got a few more spots here,
Yep.
and let's go to number 3, and it is another back to NYCC variants, and this is a really awesome Clayton Crane Spider-Man #1.
Beautiful.
Oh, it's gorgeous. It's all those spiders and Crane. He needs to do his best work are Carnage and with full masks and stuff like that. But when he does it right, it looks great, and this one looks great. But this one's getting $70 to $100. Yeah. So.
And this is kind of a take on another book cover he did, right? Where instead of the black costume, it's the normal red and blue costume. I can't remember which book that cover was for, but he did. I can't remember if it was another con variant or what, but he did a similar cover, but just not the black costume.
Yeah, I'm not really sure which one that might be, but
I really like the Black Widow spiders too. That's really cool.
Yeah, it's a good looking cover. I need to pick up a copy just because I enjoyed J.J. Abrams on TV and all his movies and everything like that. So now the fact that he's actually writing a comic I definitely need to read this just because I think the story is probably going to be good.
Okay, so looks like Chuck has. He said it's just a variant of the same book. It sounds like so. If you can get both covers, hey, they would look beautiful displayed together.
Right. Okay. Did you want to go ahead or before we get into number 2, do you want to go ahead or do you want to wait after number 2?
Go ahead, do number 2, and then we'll do a giveaway. Okay,
sounds good. All right. So number 2 is another. This one, I believe this was a secret new NYCC variant.
This one's really cool.
Yeah, and this is the plot #1, and this one is limited to 100 copies.
Which is me and Ben were talking a little bit before the show about there's some of these books at NYCC that they did a really low print run on some of these books, and I was kind of excited to hear that because rarity is king, as we all know.
Yeah, 100 copies is low. That's really low. Even though it's an independent title, it's still really low. I think this cover is great. It's kind of I'm not really even sure what's going on, but it just looks creepy. But yeah, so it looks like this one's selling 200 plus right now.
Wow.
So yeah, 200 plus. And this is only on issue 1, so it's a brand new book, and
it's been on the list. This is the second time it's been on the list in as many weeks, I think, right?
Yeah, the regular covers and stuff I think made honorable mention last week, but yeah, that's so yeah. I would honestly, and coming from the sports card market, I could honestly see that that they're going to start even going lower than 100 at some point. They're going to start having some of these variants be sub 50. To really drive
secondary market.
Yeah, secondary market. I can easily see that to where you may be out $300-400 on a book that may have just came out if you really want it. So
yeah, kind of following like we've talked about in the card world where they do these really low print variant inserts. So it'll be interesting to see if they go that route.
Yeah.
But we'll see. Our giveaway book for the night, where Ben, if you want to explain how we do the giveaway real quick.
Yeah, so every week, if you want to participate and win a free book from us, all you got to do is just I post the list, or the list gets published sometime between 5 and 6 p.m. Eastern time on Fridays. And then between that time and the time we do the show live here, around just 11-ish Eastern time, so about a 5-6 hour window, make a comment, ask a question, and the one that we either makes us laugh or whatever, the one that we like the best, we'll pick that person. We'll try not to pick the same person week after week, and we'll try not to duplicate. Yeah, so that's basically how it is. Just get on there, go to comicbookinvest.com, click on that Hot 10 list, comment, and then you have a chance to win.
And this week, we're kind of touching on the John Tyler Christopher variants that we saw here with the negative space variants. And I'm not sure, but I think this might be one of the very first books that he started doing that style. And this is Witchblade number 161. The Apparitions storyline, absolutely beautiful cover. I think that's kind of a take on the Dia de los Muertos holiday. Absolutely beautiful. This is one of my all-time favorite covers. There's a couple of variants to this issue, and I pick this one up whenever I see it. So this is going out to a lucky winner this week, and Ben, go ahead and let everybody know who that winner is this week.
Yeah, it's going to go to Blue Green Artifacts, because he or she asked, which book on this list would you pack away for a long term if you could pick it up for a good price? And to be honest, I'm looking at this list and I don't know of even Gideon Falls, as good as it might be. The print run, granted, it was split between a few covers, but the print run was in the 35,000 range, so it's not super low for an Image title. I think the Spawn buy-ins are probably too high. I can't see that you're going to make long term, maybe. And then the rest of the variants, some of them are nice, but I don't know long term how much they're going to hold up. I think if
rarity is king, and I always say that rarity is king, and it doesn't always go that way, with secondary sales prices, but most of the time, the rarer books are going to sell for more. So I try to stick to those rarer books, and I think that we all kind of second guess ourselves on whether to hold a little bit longer or just to get them out there and sell them, and most of the time we kind of take a hit for deciding to hold a little bit longer. So long-term holds are tough these days.
Yeah, they are. It's. I mean, you see a lot of these books recycle and come back, and I don't know. It's a tough market to try and think more than 6 months away.
And we've had a couple people kind of mention Gideon Falls here right in a row, and they talked about that Virgin variant and the Comic Pro variant and all that stuff. So we'll see if that's the book that is the one to keep long term on this list.
Yeah. Yep.
But all right.
And so we're going to finish off here at number 1, and I think it's no surprise to anybody, but it is the Spawn 300, the gold New York Comic Con variant, out of 500. I've heard from. Yeah, it's selling for 400 plus. I don't know if it was the gold or the silver. I heard some people that were at New York Comic Con were not too happy with the way these were distributed. Like people were out. They were sold out. Like, I mean, you knew they were going to be selling out, but like they were letting dealers in line before the show opened, and and so I don't know how they distribute them, but it is what it is.
It's kind of interesting, this comment right here, Mr. D. that's been reused so many times. I'm over it. And I hear a lot of people saying that they're kind of getting tired of the ASM 300 homage. But this one's freaking gorgeous, man.
Yeah, and you knew that was going to happen. I mean, it's McFarlane, and it's 300, and it's ASM 300, and you knew that he was going to use that. But I agree. I tend to agree. But all I know is Spawn collectors want to spend money. So it is what it is. I mean, they're okay to drop $400 on this. Would I do it? No, but I don't. I can't. There's only been a few books that I've ever spent $400 on. Period. So I'm probably not the best person to ask on it, but it is what it is. It's
gonna be interesting to see what happens in the next couple of months with this, with the print run, and you also have the silver book out there, and a couple commenters have already talked about the thank you variant, which was basically the same thing. So
right,
it'll be interesting.
I agree. But yeah, so that's why I got the number one this week. But before we go, again, thank you everybody that's commented in the chat. Even if you don't agree with me or have questions, please continue to ask. I will never hide behind my user handle. I will never hide behind ignoring questions. I will answer. So please, absolutely ask. I'm trying to be as transparent with every single thing that I do as much as I can without beating a dead horse. So if you got questions, even shoot me messages on Instagram at the Wall Comics. That's my Instagram handle, and I'll talk to you. I'll answer you. Not a big deal at all.
And CBSI Flipside at gmail.com. Also, you can email us there. And Blue Gain Artifacts, make sure you get a hold of us. You got a book coming your ways, and here it is. This is the book that you've won this week. So get a hold of us either through the email or find us on IG or the Comic Book Invest CBSI Speculation Group on Facebook. So we appreciate it.
Yep. And so thanks again, everybody, for tuning in.
Yep. And make sure you guys check out our show live Mondays at 9:30 p.m. Eastern, Tales from the Flipside, on the same channel here on YouTube. And if you haven't subscribed already, please do. Let us know how we're doing. And we appreciate it. And we'll see you guys next week. Thanks.